welcome to another episode of the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. Hey, I just want to give out a shout out to 321 Photo, Confetti Balloons, and Lightsmith for this amazing photo that showed up here from the Northwest Event Show. In case you can't see it here, watch a few cool, really things here. This might now be part of my brand, Lighted Shoes. I'm going to be bringing lighted shoes to the National Speakers Association, and check out this photo booth. This is some pretty impressive photo booth work. I believe our next guest here enjoys the color pink, and so, it might be some valuable stuff inside of there to have a photo booth that was like that. Now here comes the next part. If you're watching here live on social media, hey, subscribe, share, like, and comment. Like my friends Barbara Jenks and who else was on? Oh, Karen Slomer. We're also chatting along. If you do this while we're live, we'll give you a shout out. Now, the next part here is go to engagingvirtualmeetings.online, and you can pick up this podcast with over 80 episodes. And go onto any one of the 13 places that you love podcasts, including the #1 Apple podcast. And if you want to learn how to be more engaging in the world, and by having and wearing a banana shirt, well, go to engagingvirtualmeetings.com/CON. Again, that's engagingvirtualmeetings.com/CON. Or take your phone out and scan this QR code. Get a free ticket to the Engaging Conference, or better yet, pay the fee and come to the real live show, the second-year hybrid in person. By the way, NSA Oregon member Adam Bucker is walking around my house, who is a photographer. He was last year's photographer, and let me tell you, it was spectacular. Watch, he's going to photobomb me. Here he goes. Oh, and he's wearing green. Hey, what's up, Adam?
Okay, what's up, Adam?
There you go. Okay, watch him disappear, and oh, more fun times here on the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. Now, our next guest is coming up, and this is a woman on a mission. She is an associate certified coach, a member of the International Coaching Federation, and the Canadian Positive Psychology Association. She's a Gallup certified strength coach and is currently pursuing a master's degree of professional studies in the psychology of leadership at Penn State University, and is a member of Entrepreneurs Organization. Most of all, she's a level up. That's what I'm going to say. She's a lover of all things sparkly, such as vintage rhinestone brooches and their displays case. And she loves karaoke and cats, often at the same time. Please, let's welcome Jaime Mann.
Hello. Thanks for having me, John. What an intro.
Okay, on a scale of 0 to 40, 200, what's an intro for you, Jaime? You don't have to answer that question.
But I love it. I do like pink. I'm the one pink office here in our building, so.
Oh, wow. You custom painted your office?
Yeah.
Does your pink
I'm
have
the
a name?
golden pink person.
Yeah. Does your pink have a name or a Pantone color? Or?
No, not at all. I am a fan of all pinks, equal opportunity.
Yep. Okay, well, shout out to our good friend Sonia Price, who was the MC. She went out and made a parody video of the Barbie monologue.
Oh, right.
In all pink, like Barbie hat, Barbie gloves. Yeah, it was all over the place. We should name your pink, right? I think how about, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Jaime Pink, no, that's not quite right. There's something else. We're going to find it.
Maybe it'll come to us.
Yeah, during this, I'm going to shout out something in the middle. Like if I shout out a name with the word pink in it, I'm talking about your color.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah, okay. She's like, I feel like we should. I don't have it on a button yet, but I feel like we should have pink button. Dun 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 dun. I can play the riff at any time. Oh my! All right, well, let's do this. Jaime and I met at the CAPS convention, I believe. Is that correct?
We met online through CAPS, actually. Yes.
Ooh, was that behind the mic or something else?
I think it was behind the mic. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Jaime, I think believes that she hails from the beautiful Canadian city of Winnipeg, right?
That is true. Very true. Right in the middle of the country.
Oh, no, look, I'm not riffing on terrible terms. My hometown is Stockton, California, which is affectionately known as the armpit of California.
Ah, very nice.
It's hot, right? Its tagline used to be someplace special.
Ah. Well, you know what? I don't even know what our tagline is now. However, we are affectionately known as Winter Peg because our winters are very interesting. And in fact, today we have a bunch of snow happening and it's supposed to be spring. So I don't know.
Genius, genius. Well, speaking of snow, let's let it rain here and let Jamie tell you who you are. For my friends who don't know you, who are you and what do you do, Jamie?
Oh, thanks. My name's Jamie. I'm a construction business owner, actually. So I'm a partner in a commercial construction company. And my interest has always been how do we work better together? So generally, I do the human resources and a lot of the safety programming in our company. But I've gone back and I've started doing my master's in the psychology of leadership because what I have found is that there's a lot of things that we can do or not do when we're working with other people that are going to move the needle on how are we productive? Do we feel good when we're working? Are we engaged? And all those important things that you hear in all the research and the media these days about collaborating. And so I enjoy now these days. I come to my pink construction office and I do a lot of work with other organizations and teams as far as how do we build our leadership capabilities? How do
Yeah.
we work better together? And the other thing that is so common is that, like, no matter how long we've been either in leadership or doing our role, there's always things to learn. And one of the things I notice, no matter who we are, is sometimes it's really helpful to have a outside source, a third party, to
Mhm.
kind of help us see where our blind spots are. And
Mhm.
so, I work with lots of people too, taking out their trash, their mental mess. Um, yeah, taking out your mind trash, John, it's a thing.
Oh, there we go.
So,
Okay, what
yeah,
are the
so I
ideas?
have a lot of fun doing all this. I'm all over the place and I love it. So,
Cleansing pink.
cleansing pink.
Cleansing pink. All right, we're going to rough a few more. Now, one of the things I do believe in team building. So I've done team building too, right? For over 28 years. And one of the key things I believe is like the fastest way to solve the problem is to get yourself out of it. And what I mean by that is that, like, for instance, I've done simulations, and of course, I had to go to the restroom, right? So I go to the restroom, and bam, that was like where everything came to me about, oh yeah, this is why this is set up this way, right? You're set up to fail, right? And so if you got to do something different if you want to win this simulation, and it doesn't occur when you're in the middle of it. There, I don't know. It's the way the human brains. I love for my brain scientist friends to come tell me why we can't solve the problem when we're trying to be in it, right? Like as soon as
Mhm.
you remove yourself from the problem, this is the value of, I think, of coaching is that the coach is neutral and said, this is not my monkey, right? This is not my
Yeah.
problem. But so I can see things way more clear than you.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. When we're in something, it's very hard to see out of it. And
Yeah.
so perspective taking, right? And that's why some of the best ideas I have, and I've heard this from so many people, is like in the shower, or I'm going to go for a
Yeah.
walk,
Yeah.
right? Take
Yeah.
myself out of the office, go for a
Yeah.
walk. And
Yes.
then all of a sudden you get clarity. I was at a really fascinating event recently, and it was breath work.
Ooh.
And there was somebody actually when we came out of it, and it was post session, they were like, I just solved all of these problems that earlier today I felt incapable of solving. And it's like clarity has come to me. So I think that's really valuable to be able to get yourself out of it to solve it.
Well, you're gonna love this story then, Jamie. You remind me of the story. I once got a chance to really work with a gentleman named Gurcharan Singh Khalsa. He was basically the number two to Yogi Bhajan.
Mm,
Yogi Bhajan was the guy who created all the yogi companies, including, for instance, Yogi Tea. Right? Yogi
right.
Tea was like one of 17 companies, and all the companies funded like the Sikh religion that they had there, and they're all experts in Kundalini yoga.
Mhm.
And Guitarn always told me, he goes, Guitarn says that meditation is like one of those things that just pays you back. It reaps these rewards because again, you get stuck in it, and so it does that. So we did a team building exercise. I don't know if you've seen this team building exercise, and you would love it for your construction people. It's
Okay.
50 different PVC pipes and PVC connectors. right? And you have to basically my instruction says you have to assemble it in the fastest time possible, and you can't have any holes open, right? Otherwise, it's kind of like either money leaking out of your building or like you haven't constructed it correctly.
Right.
And what I loved about this group was that we first put them together and we asked them to do this, and at 15 minutes they had not done it. They failed, and they were fighting with each other.
Mhm.
It's like, it's your fault. We're not doing this. Blah, blah. They're fighting with each other. And then we went through this. It's called breath walk. He actually uh, was instructed by Yogi Bhajan to say, like, you need to create meditations that's accessible by everybody so more people can do it. So you don't have to sit on a cushion. You don't have to like put your fingers this way. You don't have to do it perfectly, right? You need a core part of it so that people do it. So we did
Mhm.
it, and everybody did the same breathing patterns. All right, together and walked at the same time. And then I told them, you need to do the same assignment. And it was all mixed back up again. And this time you can't talk to each other. And what happened right after that, Jamie, was magic. And I'm going to ask you a magic story in just a second. Is that what happened was magic because they started putting out all the pieces without talking to each other. They had arranged and sorted everything according to size. They were all different sizes of connectors. They didn't talk. They were just doing this. And then what they did was start assembling it. And things that happened this time didn't happen any time before. Is that people started giving each other other pieces, or they
Mm.
would ask for permission, say, "May I have that piece?" And they assembled it in 4 minutes and 22 seconds.
That's pretty cool.
It was like jazz. Like when you see great jazz players, none of them know what they're doing, but at
Right.
the end, the music is beautiful.
Right.
Yeah. So, do you have a magic team building story a little bit like that?
Um, there was a time, the one story that immediately came to my mind was it's the idea there when you were talking about that walk and kind of it's something reset. And one of the things that I recall is working with a team that was kind of not getting along very well. And they were trying to finish off a project, and it wasn't construction, it was a different sector. But, at one point, everybody was kind of just at a standstill in a meeting and kind of literally done. Like, I don't know what to say to this. I'm kind of out and disengaged. And so I went around and I asked people, I want you to answer these questions in your head. So I'm going to pose 3 questions with the scope of this project. What do you want for yourself? Just in your head, answer that. What do you want for yourself?
Mm.
And then the second question is, what do you want for your teammates?
Mm.
And the third question was, if you actually did want these things,
Mm.
what would your next step be? What would your next behavior be? And so then people were being able to kind of get out of their own head and be like, what do I want for my teammates here? Like,
Service
and
to others. Yeah.
right. And the questions when we were talking about this, people were like, yeah, when I was answering those questions in my head, I was kind of so stuck in what I wanted. Like that question came really easy. But what do I want for my teammates? And when I started thinking about, well, I want them to feel good about the project being done, or I want them to feel like they matter, or I
Mm.
want them to be successful. Like all of these things came out. And
Mm.
then by asking your brain a better question, like if I did want these things, what would I do next?
Mhm.
Because sometimes I find that it's like if we ask bad questions, we get bad answers. And so,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
when we talk about taking out our mental mess, even the idea when I work with people, a common sort of question we might ask ourselves when we're frustrated is
Mm.
like, oh, why am I so dumb? Right? Or why am I so stupid? Or whatever the question is. But it's like if you ever ask yourself, why am I so stupid? Your brain finds 50 million reasons why you're so stupid.
Because you did this yesterday,
Right.
right?
It's
Because you didn't
automatic.
shower, right? You
It's
didn't brush your
automatic.
teeth. Yeah.
And so asking better questions get better answers.
Yeah. So I think, Jamie, right, and believe in presuppositions.
Yeah.
right? Because so let's go back to that why you're so dumb, right? So
Hmm.
the question why you are so dumb has a presupposition built into it. So all of you who are listening to this podcast, right now, see if you can identify. So we're going to raise your awareness in this one area of presuppositions. That the question is a presupposition. It says why are you so dumb? The presupposition is a statement that says you're dumb.
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
You're dumb, as opposed to the presupposition is like, which ways are you most intelligent?
Hmm.
Right? When was the time you felt like a genius? So again, the questions. I love this quote. You probably heard this quote too, right? The quality of your life is the quality of the questions you ask.
Ah, very, very much.
All right. Do you have a favorite question? Do you have a favorite question you like to ask?
You know what? I don't have a favorite question, but what I do like is when I find myself thinking with binary kind of yes or no, or like when I catch myself thinking bad or good or very kind of defined category thinking,
Yes.
I like to rephrase my questions with how.
Say
Because I
more.
find lots of times, we end up getting stuck in yes or no kind of questions or very defined kind of
Hmm.
thinking patterns.
Hmm.
And so if I think to myself, even negative thoughts like, oh, I'm never going to be able to do that, or I'll never finish that on time. Well, how might I be able to finish that on time? Or how might I be able to take a next best step?
Yeah.
So I
Or what's one step? Yeah. What's
yeah,
one
that's
step I
right.
could take?
That's right. So I find it expands thinking a little bit when we
Hmm.
get out of those
Hmm.
kind of closed-ended questions.
Yeah.
Um, but I just expanding thought is where we can make some really good gains.
I think the thing too I've also learned is the how dangerous universals are.
Oh,
Universals is like right. I'll write this. It'll never work.
mhm.
Right. I've tried everything. Everything.
Yeah.
Right. This is impossible. So the universals are like this. People make these global statements, and if you're smart enough, right, as a coach, or that you're skilled enough as a coach, you'll go back and you'll challenge them on it. Going, I've tried everything. Really? Have you tried everything?
Yeah. How true is that though?
Yeah.
Let's
How
look at that
true?
statement. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. What's
Right.
one other thing that you haven't tried yet?
Yeah.
Even if it's not going to work, let's just try it. Right. And
Yeah.
so I think that, so I really listen for universals all the time. And I do. I challenge myself because if you challenge it too, then they find out it's not true, but it is true when they said it.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
that truth is, oh, here's my favorite one. My favorite one, Jamie, because we're talking about team building. Uh, this problem is impossible.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'll tell them, you're right. As long as you hold on to that belief that it is impossible, you will never solve this problem.
Yes.
Never.
Yes.
And then I can right?
Yeah.
And somebody did it in minute 22 last week. And they're like, no! That goes right for the completion and the competitive people. They're like, no, you can't be. And then
Yeah.
their brain starts to open up.
Right.
Right. So,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Okay. So let me ask this, Jamie. What do you do to keep people engaged in the team building event? Because you know what? We're in the team building field, and I'm pretty sure you know the eye roll. We're going to be doing a team building event. Oh, God.
Yes. Really?
Right?
What am I doing with pipe cleaners today, Jamie? Like it's
I
that
love
idea.
pipe cleaners, multicolored pink pipe cleaners, right?
Right. Pink pipe cleaners.
You know
Um,
what? You pipe, wait. You know what?
what?
They're pink cleansing pipe cleaners.
Oh, that sounds a bit weird. Yeah, it might be a bit weird.
Well, then you tell them and put it behind their head and make it look like they're like flossing. You're doing brain floss.
Flossing your brain.
I
Um,
told you I was going to figure something out on this one.
well, I mean, keep working on it, John, please.
Yeah. I like cleansing pink. I do think it's
I think that engagement in did you say virtual team building
either
or
one.
just team building?
You
Yeah.
choose.
Engagement is obviously the super important component of it. And I mean, I sometimes in sessions can see, who wants to be there and who maybe is skeptical. And so I think kind of staying away from the overused ones. When people go, oh, team building is so cheesy, that sort of thing. Some of it can be. I think that team building that can be really valuable is when um, I like that there needs to be like sort of a connection piece to
Yes.
it. And what I mean by that is,
Yeah.
if we're doing something on conflict management or something
Yeah.
specific as a session,
Yeah.
having some sort of event that is linked maybe to conflict building or conflict resolution,
Yeah.
but also connection. Like, I want to be able to bring people together and have them learn something about each other that perhaps is interesting. Maybe it's not relevant to the topic, but something that's interesting that gets me to know you more as a person,
Yes.
rather than like, what's your favorite color? Like,
Yes.
okay, interesting. Maybe you like blue because you have a blue shirt on. Do I care? Not as much, but I would find it interesting to know a little bit about you, some sort of weird fact or something that's important to you that maybe I've worked with you for years and I have no idea who you are. And so I really lean into the connection piece. And
Yes.
then depending on the group, obviously, some people are more outgoing and colorful than others. And so you can do sort of different team building events.
Yeah.
Some people are pretty skeptical and maybe prefer not where you're jumping around and
Yeah.
yelling and screaming and being nutty.
Rah rah. Yeah.
Um, but every group is different. I try to read the room a little bit and have
Yeah.
an idea of where I want to go. But
Yeah.
you're the master at this stuff. You tell me.
Well, I would say that, one piece around here. Let's see, to keep people engaged is that, well, number one, yeah, you got the team building has to have a purpose, right? Otherwise, you're asking people like really feel some of the worst team building is like, okay, we're gonna throw a ball around. Okay, you threw a ball around, you did something, and now we're gonna move on to the next thing. The debrief is the most important part of the team building, and it should be chosen. I choose all of my activities to teach a particular lesson. Like there's a great one where my previous boss at Microsoft gave me this one, and he said it was the most impactful thing that he still remembers to this date. Right? You go back to back. Somebody gets an envelope full of parts, and the other person has the model.
Mhm.
Okay, and so they got to talk to each other, but they can't see each other's stuff. Right? It's a
Right.
great communication exercise. And what he was so enlightened about is that in the envelope they changed the colors of the shape.
Oh,
This is so mean, right? Just like, get the red triangle, right? And the guy's got the red triangle, but it's a different size.
right.
And
Oh,
so you don't get that till you communicate. So he's saying, I'm trying to tell you clearly how to build this model. And this
yeah,
guy's she's got to figure out a way to say, my triangle doesn't look like your triangle,
right.
right? So we can make the shape, but you didn't know that the colors were changed. And so you used a reference that you assume that I have, and it's wrong.
Right.
And the best
Oh,
part, so he said, as a manager, it really reminded him to like I said, if I tell you to build a house, right? You don't know what kind of house, right? Like so
oh,
I have an image of a house that I want, and then I
right.
just tell you to build a house, and you build, like a yurt or a tent. I don't know. Let's mix
Yeah,
it together.
exactly.
And I'm going, that's not what I wanted. I wanted a two-story house, colonial with some windows, and so that's where it really goes wrong. And I find this a lot, even in speaking and team building and other types of things, is that I might say something like, I want X, Y, or Z to happen, and they heard something completely different.
Hmm.
And so those are some of my favorite exercises around that.
Well,
Well,
the other
yeah,
thing that I just think about is even the situation where if any of us have seen something happen, whether it's
yeah,
like a car accident or whatever, but it's that idea that there's like maybe me and other people there and we've all seen it happen in a totally different way. We were
yes,
watching the same thing. Um,
yeah.
so it's just sometimes to remember like, yeah, our meanings, how we interpret what we're seeing is different, not necessarily the same at all.
Well, I love to, Jamie. You reminded me, like, Patrick Lencioni.
Mhm.
Yeah, he wrote Five's Dysfunction of a Team. He's with my publisher, John Wiley and Sons. He sold 6 million books. I'm not
Right.
quite there yet. I'm on the way. But
Not yet.
yeah. I retested his best team building exercise, and he says he still does it to this day. And it was really cool. I got to produce Patrick Lencioni because he was talking to an EO group on a virtual conference. It was so
Oh, okay,
cool.
cool.
That guy still got it. Let me just tell you, like on virtual, he figured out a way to have it. and he brought it, and it was really cool. His exercise is this, and he still does it in his tabletop group. Is the name of his consulting company. It, it's so simple. Tell a challenging childhood story. Right? And I actually had a case where a Taiwanese company bought a U.S. company, right? And they started fighting over COVID because they just weren't in agreement. And somebody brought me in and says, "Hey, John, can you plan a 3 hour fun team building event for this group?" And I'm like, after I interviewed both sides group, by the way, that's the number one thing: interview both groups before you go anywhere. And I came back to them with a conclusion. My conclusion is a 3 hour fun team building event would be the worst idea for these two groups. And the US guys, like when I told them that, they're like, "Yeah, oh my God, somebody gets us." And so we ran an exercise. I said, "Well, in 3 hours, I think I can begin to repair this relationship. I can't fix it in 3 hours. Come on, we're not
Well,
that good. But I think I could begin to repair." And they're like, "We'll pay you for that." Okay, so I did it. And, we did some tech work to set it up right. But the Taiwan group was still with each other in person because Taiwan had less COVID at the time.
yeah.
And the 5 US executives were individually logged in. And they each told one challenging childhood story. It took like 90 minutes for 10 people to tell their stories. And then magic happened. For the next 90 minutes, they then started talking about the real problem. And the best part, Jamie, of the whole meeting was the CEO from Taiwan, who was in charge, right?
Mhm.
Came back and said, "I didn't realize how damaged our relationship is now until this meeting."
Wow.
And he said he is actually scheduled. He says, "I'm finally scheduled for the first time in 3 years to come see you in person in 2 weeks. And I vow to come there with the attitude to fix this relationship with you." Made my whole day.
Well, no kidding. That's phenomenal. That's what we all hope for if we go and work with a group or to be able to bring change like that.
Yeah.
Because we can't force anybody to do anything. But if you can inspire somebody to shift something.
And it's so much more powerful, right? Like I could tell you to a blue in the face, right? Oh,
Yeah.
communicate better.
Right.
But when you come back and saying, "I really need to look at the presuppositions of my questions," and you say it, you own it, and you're more likely to do something about it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Very
Okay.
cool.
We're gonna do this fun part of this interview that I just started introducing. This is called the speed round. Are you ready for the speed round?
Okay.
Okay, watch. I'm gonna ask you a question. You try and answer as fast as possible, and then I play some wacky sound effect like this. Oh, geez, I broke my sound effect. Oh, there it is. So slow. My
Okay.
Mario coins were like broken. Okay, are you ready?
Hey, I'm sweating. Let's go.
Best way to take a break.
With cats.
Oh, I don't have a cat button. I need a cat button. Darn it. Best construction project you've ever worked on.
Ooh, Red River College, very cool. It was taking old buildings in the exchange and putting new stuff behind them, and it's touches a whole lot of people. So I love it. Ah,
Side question: how the hell did you get into construction? I didn't get a chance to ask, so I'm gonna ask
you
now.
know, you know how life is funny and you just end up where you end up? It all makes sense, but it wasn't where I thought I'd be. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Uh, Name a breathing exercise.
Oh, box breathing. If
Oh
I
yeah,
ever feel
or
really triggered, it's that breathing in for 4 seconds, holding it for 4 seconds, breathing out. I love it.
yeah, box breathing, box breathing. You gotta take a picture of that. Your favorite team building exercise.
Oh gosh, there's so many. I like the team building exercise where different opinions or statements are called out and then people are moving to the answer they agree with.
Oh yeah.
And then you kind of get to see how everyone's moving and thinking.
Oh yeah. Vote with your body. I also like to do one called continuum.
Okay.
The continuum is like line up in the order of seniority in the group,
Oh, cool.
right? And they have to talk to each other.
Yeah.
What a concept, right? Okay, ready? A woman you want to have lunch with.
Oprah.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a winner. See what this Oprah music. By the way, yesterday in my team building, or actually 2 days ago in my keynote, I got to Oprah people because I had like 40 books, and I'm like, "You get a
Oh,
book, and you get a book, and
fun.
you get a." That's one of my engagement techniques: is end on a high note and use the Oprah technique. Okay.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Pink reminds you of.
Happiness.
Oh, oh. When was the last time pink made you happy?
Today, look at, look at. I just started a new project with a pink folder.
Were you like so happy when you found that?
I was thrilled, John, when I found that.
Okay, which means that you probably drink rosé.
I do love rosé.
Rosé all day.
Rosé the day away.
Next time on this podcast with Jamie Mann, day drinking. Um, what does intention mean to you?
Conscious thought and action.
As a Lamborghini.
Very nice.
Worst question to ask.
Are you pregnant?
Especially when you're wrong.
Right.
But even if you're right, it's
Yeah.
not a good. Don't
Don't
do it.
do it.
Don't do it.
Don't.
And the last and final question in this interview, Jamie, if you could get people to magically remember one thing and apply it to their life in this interview, what would it be?
We all lead others, whether we have a title. And so, how do we have a positive impact?
My favorite too is I used to think change. You used to have used a lot of power and used to have a lot of force. Like board breaking is an exercise I actually teach, right? And when you realize actually the wood board that you think is going to break your hand, that you can actually use about this much pressure if you're using the right technique and break the board. And I think that leadership is like that.
Hmm.
That when you lead your people with the least amount of force and let them shine, that's great leadership.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. And it's that idea of like, how do you lift people up around you or set people up to be their best and do their best?
Okay, Jamie, I have a challenge for us.
Okay.
Let's lead a team building session together at CAPS convention.
Oh, that sounds very fun. You're talking serious?
I'm serious. I'm gonna be there. I already bought the ticket. It's too late. I'm going to Halifax.
Gosh. Well, I'll tell you what, if I end up being able to attend, you got it.
Right. That's right. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because could you imagine CAPS members in our team building event? I
I
smell
think it would be a lot of fun.
I smell nothing but PVC pipes, pink pipe cleaners, and juggling balls.
Yeah, and probably some sequins.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
they would love sequins though. It's like
yeah,
that's not even a challenge. It's like
right.
yeah, like the challenge would have to be give the worst speech ever, and they'll be like, I don't know how to do that. Oh my, Jamie, this has been really fun, and I got to tell you, we're talking about culture of National Speakers Association. I just want to compliment you and all the other Canadians too. We might need to hang out with you a little bit more for a variety of other reasons, but the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers has the it, and what I mean by it, it's an association that finds a way to draw strangers in, embrace them, and love them and make them want to come back and feel engaged. I just want to let you know that you and many others with CAPS, shout out to Tyler Hayden, Hall of Famer, who brought me into that. And I just want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, well, you know what? I am new to CAPS myself, and I feel that also. So it's a really great organization. I'm happy to have met you.
Well, happy to have met you too. Thank you, Jamie, and I look forward to seeing you next time or maybe in Halifax. Outstanding. All right, we've been talking to Jamie Mann, and Jamie Mann says, get something pink and ask better questions. Oh my. If you're watching here on social media, why don't you do us a favor? Subscribe, share, like, and comment. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, by the way, so that'd be great if you could help us push over the line and get to 1,000. If you want all the episodes, go to www.engagingvirtualmeetings.online and pick up this podcast and subscribe to one of the 13 beautiful podcast platforms so you can get a new episode every Wednesday. Fun fact, Jamie, I have episodes pre-scheduled to 2026. You are always going to get a new episode on Wednesday. And of course, if you really want to experience this live, come to engagingvirtualmeetings.com/CONCon or take out your phone, turn on the camera and get a free ticket or get the paid ticket and come join us live here in Seattle or in the Zoom audience online to be fully engaged. You'll find all the new ways to be engaged in whatever it is you do in your company, as a leader, as a team, in meetings or masterclasses or wherever Jamie is in her pink office. Hey, we hope you enjoyed here another episode of Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast, and I will see you next time.
Always start people and keep old people. Show you